Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. We are playing a little bit of Factorio here. um, we started this playthrough on Two Brothers Play last night, which is pretty much mostly vanilla with rampant and some other like warfare kind of mods, turret mods, and then a handful of mods to give it this nice Christmassy winter feel, because it just seemed appropriate. So I'm just doing a little bit on my own because I'm not very productive, I think, when we do co-op Factorio. I'm much more productive on my own. So I'm just playing a little on my own to kind of catch up and do a few things before we play again together on Wednesday. So, yeah. This week on this channel, we have had some Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader action going on, which has been good. And we've also had some what was the other game? I'm sure it'll come to Fire Emblem. Yeah, we've been doing Fire Emblem, of course. So we just finished Sacred Stones, and so very soon I'll start uploading Path of Radiance, the first 3D Fire Emblem. So we're kind of in the second half-ish of Fire Emblem now. Done with 2D, onto 3D, or 3D-ish. I mean, technically we're not done with 2D because Shadow Dragon, Echoes, that's all kind of 2D. But the golden age of 2D is over. And then yeah, Two Brothers Play, and then that's kind of it. And I gotta tell you, I recorded practically nothing this whole week. This was not a week of recording. I can tell you that much. Like, Ziggy just asked me if I was done with Rogue Trader at this point, if I'd beaten it. And hell no. Hell no. I am not, no. I have like 4 videos recorded for it. 4 or 5 videos, that's it. And it's not that it's a bad game or anything like that. It's just I haven't recorded anything. I just am not, I'm not in that zone at the moment. And truth be told, most of my effort this week has gone towards that Final Fantasy XIV video. And in some ways, that Final Fantasy XIV video is like a more grueling project than the ABCs of Death. Not in every way. Not in every way, but in some ways. I mean, I like Final Fantasy 14. I want to do the video. I know people are going to enjoy it. I know people are clamoring for it. But it's just so fucking boring. It was really funny last night on stream. You know, we had been streaming for a few hours, and then I just started talking about Final Fantasy 14 in this video and stuff, and I just started, like, yawning excessively. Like, a lot of yawn. Just as soon as I started talking about Final Fantasy 14 and this script that I'm working on and stuff. It was just yawn after yawn, and just constantly. And then as soon as I stopped talking about Final Fantasy 14, I stopped yawning. So something just psychologically there. It's fucking with me. Hey, lovely habit. So yeah, I don't know. It's just ultimately my complaint with Final Fantasy 14 is that basically the writers for that game use like 10 words when 3 or 4 words would suffice. It's just the writing is extremely bloated, and I think probably this problem lessened over the years, but it's most evident, I would say, in the patch quests between A Realm Reborn and the first expansion. Because from what I understand, they scrambled to get A Realm Reborn out, and then they really wanted to give themselves time for the first expansion. So they had 100 patch quests, which, you know, they never did that again. They never did that many again. That was ridiculous. They had 100 patch quests, and a lot of those quests are just running back and forth and just excessive amounts of dialogue that don't really amount to much, but they just kind of sprinkle in like crumbs of future storylines. So, oh god, it's just bad. So, you know, my video footage for all the patch quests, minus the Crystal Tower stuff, is about 18 hours. And I wish I could remember how many hours A Realm Reborn took me. Because I condensed whatever A Realm Reborn was into like 3.5 hours. But this is 18 hours that I'm condensing into like 3 hours. Which doesn't seem like that much of a condense. Just because there's so much dialogue. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm getting tired of talking about it again. It's just exhausting. This is Factorio. With mods. But I would say that my job has never felt more like a job than working on this specific Final Fantasy video. And that didn't feel like that with The Realm Reborn. So the patch quests, I think, are like the lowest point of the entire game. So So I can understand absolutely why people would be interested in having me cover it in some way, but at the same time, I worry that it's just I'm covering it too much. It's too long. This should be like an hour-long summary. But yeah, I don't. I mean, it'll get done. The work always gets done. That's just how it is. But yeah, it's not pleasant. But that's why I have not been in any sort of mood to record anything at all. Because every time I think about like even playing a game, it's like, well, I could spend this time writing. And that's where we're at. And it's not even that, I mean, 3 hours is long, but it's not like excessively long. But just because it just bores me so much that every couple minutes of writing, I'm like, oh, okay, well, Alt tab. Let me just look at something stimulating for a minute. And then, that turns into 5 minutes, and then I force myself to go back to write for a couple minutes, and on and on. Yeah, it's... It'll get done. But it certainly does not interest me or stimulate me in nearly the same way as covering, like, Final Fantasy Tactics would, and summarizing all of Final Fantasy Tactics. Just because there is no game, there's no other game in existence, I feel, with as bloated of writing as Final Fantasy XIV. So basically, covering any other video game would just be a more interesting experience. But people want this, so I'm going to give it to them. And that's how it is. But anyways, over on the Exploring series, I put out a video on No Vacancy for SCP, which was a really good one. People seem to enjoy it, even though the Volgan just covered it. Didn't seem to be a deal breaker, so that's all good. If that's an alright deal to you, but take care of yourself. I mean, I'm not gonna die from covering Final Fantasy XIV. It's just, it's a job. It is a job, and there are far worse jobs. But this week, I worked on a 40K video about the Adepta Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle, the nuns with guns, all that sort of stuff. And that was good. I mean, yeah, interesting stuff. They're sort of the paladins-ish of 40K. While I was writing, I was like, this seems like a short video. I feel like I feel like I'm underselling it. And then I had to look back at all my other 40K videos, and they're all like, 18 to 20 minutes long, or 15 to 20 minutes long, and I'm like, okay. I think this Final Fantasy XIV video is just skewing my perception of how long a video should be. But yeah, I actually had I was talking with my mom for quite a while about, like, my channel and stuff. Um, because I've recently re-uploaded the videos for Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger as the stories, video game stories. And I saw a comment from someone that was like, a comment on one of those videos that was like, I never really thought of this, but basically this is like a video game as an audiobook. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's a video game audiobook, which isn't, I mean, that's a niche. That's not something that's really popular. Or that's not something that's really been done often. And it kind of made me think, like, could I potentially do this as more of like a full-time aspect of my channel? It's tricky though. It's not just as simple as saying like, yes, I can do this and I'm gonna do it. Um, because the issue is time and scheduling. Yep, we've got candy canes for the regular poles, Christmas trees for the medium poles. We've got ore as candy, and cargo wagons are sleighs. Very pleasant. But the issue is time and scheduling, because I can put out an SCP video every single week. That's not really an issue. That's my normal schedule, week to week to week to week. That's just, a good amount of time where I'm not stressed or overpressured or anything like that. Is week to week SCP video. 40K video, it's a little trickier. It does take a little bit more time and effort, but I can do it, once every other couple weeks, put out a 40K video. No, I've never used these mods before. Special videos, that come up once in a while. It's usually not too bad, like a Lovecraft reading. Since I don't have to write anything, those usually are fairly easy. During October and stuff like that, sometimes I'll do a special, like the Blair Witch video. Usually those I can all fit into 1 week, and it's not a big problem. But when you're talking about a video game video, the story of a video game, it's a different process entirely, because one, I have to play through the entire game. Yeah, I have that mod installed as well. I just haven't built one. One, I have to play through the entire game. That takes time, especially because many of the video games that I'm interested in covering are RPGs, which are like, dozens of hours long. And when I am, if I'm going to record something like that, yes, I will use I'll use save states, I'll use fast forward, all that sort of stuff to speed up the process, but I can't fast forward through like story scenes, dialogue scenes, things like that, because that's what's going to be in the video. So it has to be like at a steady pace. I can't fast forward through it. So inevitably, playing through a game for a video is going to take me a bit longer than if I was just speeding through it on my own. Like recording Final Fantasy 14 takes so much longer than if I'm just sitting there skipping through every cutscene and every piece of dialogue, because I need to have I need to have the dialogue on screen for as long as I'm generally like talking about it, so it kind of matches what I'm talking about. And then there's issues because I'm anal and stupid, uh, where I care about like cinematography. And actually, using plugins for Final Fantasy XIV has been fantastic for that sense. Primarily, there's one plugin you can get where it just hides every other player in the game. Because if you watch the Realm Reborn videos, so many times I've had to like move the camera, or change the camera, or just sit there and wait because there was another player just like standing there next to me, and that just kind of fucks with like the narrative that I'm presenting when you have like 8 warriors of light just standing around the same quest giver. It just doesn't feel right to me. So yeah, I either had to like move the camera so that Explorer was kind of covering the other person, or just sit there and wait and hope that they would run off. Other times, I got really pissed off. Just personally because of the day-night shift. So like especially if I would like stop playing for like a little bit. So I would like be in the middle of a quest line, and I would stop and I'd come back, and then it would be like nighttime, so it'd be just a sudden day-night shift, which doesn't fit the narrative at all. Or on the flip side, there was supposed to be in the story like a passage of time, but that doesn't match the day-night skip, and you just go along with the quest line, and then it's like, you know, time hasn't moved at all, even though they're like, oh, you know, some hours later. I don't, all sorts of little issues like that probably no one cares about except for me. But it just gets to me. So yeah, one plugin that lets you hide all other players is great. There's another plugin that lets you just set the time of day, like the weather, however you want. So if it's like suddenly raining, you can make it not be raining. Stuff like that. What was I talking about? Well, right, yeah. So, recording video games for a video just takes so much longer because, mostly because I just need to wait for all the dialogue to be on screen for a certain amount of time. Am I trying to do something like what they did in Clear Skies? It's a YouTube video done by fans/players in the EVE Online universe. It's pretty good. Well, I don't know anything about that. I'm trying to... Well, like I just said, I'm trying to make video games into an audiobook. Essentially. Trying to present the story of various video games as a single cohesive narrative, as if it were, you know, a film or an audiobook. And so there's just no way that I could do, say, Final Fantasy Tactics in 1 week, like week to week, bouncing between SCP video and a video game story video. It just wouldn't be possible without breaking up the story into multiple parts. Like part 1 of 4 of Final Fantasy Tactics, and it takes us, you know, a couple months to get through. But that's not really great, primarily because the YouTube algorithm heavily frowns upon multi-parted videos, which is why I've re-uploaded Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger as a single video. Alright, thanks, Lovely Abbott. Trying to translate the color storybook that you're reading into an audiobook for others. I mean, the best way for me to explain is probably for you to just go check out my videos on Final Fantasy VI or Chrono Trigger on the Exploring series. It's just presenting the story of an RPG or a video game, and sort of summarizing it, skipping over gameplay aspects and all that. But anyways, I can't... I really would rather not break it up into multiple parts, but I can't do the whole thing in a week. It's just far too much work to play through the whole game, then go back through all my footage and go line by line through the story and the dialogue, and write the script summarizing the story as we go. So you've always seen games as a visual storybook. I guess, but then you could just call movies a visual storybook. But that's, you know, I'm trying to present the game sort of as if it were a movie, but obviously with just narration. So essentially then just an audiobook, but with some visuals thrown in. So the dilemma would be, assuming that I suddenly wanted to make video game stories like a central aspect of my channel. Do I just do SCP and say 40K, those couple things, and then work on video game stuff whenever I get a chance? And I really don't love that option because it tends to be kind of all or nothing for me. It either consumes all my time like this Final Fantasy 14 shit, or I just procrastinate and it never gets done. Sort of like the Final Fantasy 14 shit before this, when it was just sitting there for months. Or I... I don't know. If it's... Say I drop 40K, and we say, okay, I'm mostly going to do SCP, but once in a while there'll be a video game video. Then would it just be like 3 SCP videos a month, and then the 4th video of the month would be some video game thing? That would basically mean I'd be working on it in my free time 3 weeks out of every month, and then I'd get 1 week a month to really dedicate to finishing it. And that could be doable if, like, half of the free time of the month is me just playing through the game and recording it, and then, the other half of the month is me slowly writing and then frantically writing and editing to finish it. And editing is the other thing. Because I'd really... It would honestly would be something that I might want to hire an editor for. Just because I don't think there's anything really flashy or creative required with it. You're pretty much just matching the gameplay footage to whatever I'm talking about. And that's a fairly brain-dead job that just is time-consuming. I'd probably only hire the editor if it sort of takes off. if it gets some decent numbers, and I actually commit to like this one a month sort of schedule. Because if it's just one a month and all I have to do is play through the game and write a script and not concern myself with editing, that's probably doable. But I don't, yeah, it's tricky. It's very tricky. I said I was going to get 40K a year, so that's, you know, another 4 or 5 months or something like that. And then we'll kind of evaluate how it's doing and what I want to do at that point. Obviously, SCP is not going anywhere. But we're going to see how this Final Fantasy XIV video does. Nothing is stopping me from trying it. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice thought, but of course, it is my job and pays the bills, so I do have to consider viewership to some extent. So we'll see how the Final Fantasy XIV video does. I'm gonna monitor how these Chrono Trigger Final Fantasy VI videos do, and you know, we'll see. We'll see general interest. Maybe I'll just throw something out on Twitter as just like, you know, what do people think about this? Does YouTube's revenue allow you to pay the bills from just your videos alone, or do I have to supplement some side gig? No, that is my entire career. Yeah, which is how I can put out a video once a week. If I was doing some other job in the meantime, that would be quite tricky. So I can see how, you know, I'm fortunate. It's probably, presumably, very tricky for someone to start a YouTube career while working another job, just because you can't devote as much time. Want to know how the Foundation keeps its manpower needs met? It goes through a lot of people. It doesn't go through that many people anymore, now that they've... I mean, without the, well, there's no canon, but, you know, we don't have that whole myth about them getting rid of D-Class every month. So, you know, I assume a standard researcher probably survives their position for quite a number of years. And D-Class, I mean, obviously there's a lot of prisoners in the United States. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. I mean, I am lucky to have this career, but I'm glad that it's a career that does entertain so many people. But yeah, I'm largely interested in how the Final Fantasy VI video and the Chrono Trigger video are gonna do now that I uploaded them as single videos. They're both sitting at 23,000 views right now, which is not great, but it's early. The algorithm hasn't picked up on them perhaps yet, so we'll see if it ever does. Guards keep getting killed containing the anomalies or whatever you call them. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess. Hard to say. Containment breaches happen. Um, it's just, yeah, it depends. Depends on your headcanon and all that. I think a security guard for the Foundation is probably a lot easier to come by than a researcher. But you know, like I've covered SCPs that look at sort of ways that the Foundation can sort of keep their personnel alive, where otherwise they might not live, even if that's not always great. Stuff like that. Sometimes the Foundation just grows people, you know, who knows? But anyways, enough of that talk. So yeah, Sisters of Battle video dropping tomorrow. And then next week, we're doing something fun. I'm going to be starting a new admonition video. SCP-7243. It's the newest in the admonition series. Existential Abatement. That should be plenty of fun, and I'm pretty certain it's going to end up being 2 videos. Just because it's quite lengthy. Not like 3 hours lengthy or something like that, but they might both be 45-minute videos. And the admonition series so far has been a highlight, so I'm quite excited to cover that. And then we're going to do one more 40K video before the end of the year, or right around the end of the year. And then after that, come January, that's the big question mark. I have no idea. One of those videos in January will be Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Awoken, the Realm Reborn patch quests. Probably another one of those videos will be a Lovecraft reading. I don't know how long. It's not going to be like a Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath or something. You know, it's not going to be like a 6-hour one. But it's not going to be like a 20-minute video either. If I'm actually going to release it as like a Monday video, it's got to be around an hour at least. Hangover is gone. That's so good. It's good. I've never experienced a hangover, but I hear they're not great. Now the plan was then to have another video be an SCP video, like a fresh original one. And then the 4th video would have been another Warhammer video. But this Final Fantasy shit is just consuming my entire December at this rate. So I'm not sure how it's going to go, or how much time off in January I'm going to get. Somebody commented that I should release the Rainbow Serpent as a single video, a combined video. And I didn't realize that I didn't do that. Let me just check. It sounds right, though. It sounds like I didn't do it. I did not. I did not do it, and that's like an hour and a half. And those videos actually did pretty well for themselves, all things considered. I thought they wouldn't, because it was kind of like more ecological focused and you know, a little preachy maybe, but no, they did all right. So yeah, one video could be huh. Well, that's that sounds fun, I guess. I don't drink, but all the power to you. So one of the videos, Rainbow Serpent combined, I guess that's, at the end of the day, I guess I am gonna have to announce that I'm taking off January in some capacity if I'm gonna release Rainbow Serpent combined as a Monday video, and a Final Fantasy video and a Lovecraft video. I mean, people are gonna get a little discouraged if they don't hear that I'm taking off the month. They'll think I've turned on them. So there's that. That covers at least 3 videos. I mean, we'll see how the rest of December looks. No, I don't drink. I mean, I used to drink a little, like I'm not like not trying to cover it up, like really a little, but I found that every drop of alcohol that enters my body just makes me extremely fatigued. And unless I'm just like having trouble sleeping, there's really no interest in me to be suddenly fatigued. I tell people now that I have an allergy or something, or an intolerance. I don't know if that's true or if I'm just an extreme lightweight, but yeah, I have no interest in being suddenly fatigued. People are always like, oh, you know, you gotta drink, loosen up. It's like, no, that's just not gonna be fun for anyone. I'll be sitting here sleeping, and then you guys will be wondering, like, why is he sleeping? Like, what? You know, that's not, it's just not great. So I just tell people I have an intolerance, and that usually ends any sort of discussion. I have to go through my videos and watch them. Just discovered my channel a couple weeks ago from Vile Urple. Yeah, I mean, this channel is just my hobby. This is all just Let's Plays and video game videos. The Exploring series is my job, my career, for more structured lore stuff. It's not for everybody, but... Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I wanted to build this Christmas tree. Just get some iron, build a Christmas tree. As all good Christmas trees are made of a lot of iron. So Final Fantasy 14, Lovecraft, Rainbow Serpent. If the rest of my December clears up, if I actually finish this video in a reasonable time, then I might actually just do a normal SCP video. I do have one in mind that I was reserving for January, so I'd like to actually do that. But yeah, the odds of me actually doing a 40K video in January are quite slim at this rate, if I actually want to take time off. And I do, because it's a very nice time to take off. January is the lowest month for ad revenue. So if you're gonna be a YouTuber or a streamer and take 1 month of the year off, January's probably the one you want to do it. Which really, like, really annoys my mom, because it's like, she thinks if you're gonna take any month of the year off, you want to take off December. It's Christmas, the holidays. You spend it with family, but December, like, you know, I work my ass off. I like most years I'm actually working on Christmas, just because, like, you know, I stick to my routine, I stick to my schedule, so I don't fuck up. But yeah. Oh no, I don't feel bad about not drinking. I don't think really probably anyone should drink. As far as like the problems that arise. But you know, people can do whatever the hell they want. And I can do whatever the hell I want. God damn it. So that's kind of where we're at. That's kind of the discussion that's happening. So bottom line is, you know, there's a Sisters of Battle video dropping tomorrow. There's going to be some admonition to fill up your December. Very exciting. I still have plenty of work to do, but if you're interested in Final Fantasy XIV, rest easy, rest assured that come January there will be fresh content for that. And then for the rest is kind of an unknown. We'll see. As for this channel, there's going to be more Fire Emblem, of course. There'll be no stoppage of that. There'll be more Rogue Trader. But as usual, when I don't have anything recorded and I'm not in a recording mood, there may be some hiccups. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, it's not a bad game, and it's been getting very rave reviews. Not rave, but pretty good reviews. Turns out I was not the only one to experience some bugs for release. But, yeah. That's kind of it. And someday we will continue Mangg Plays the Best Games of All Time. Whenever I muster up the willpower to play Devil May Cry. Okay, I think that's everything. So, thanks to you all for hanging out and chatting with me. I appreciate it. But for now, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. I'll see you fine folks next week.